Welcome back. Happy Friday, Felony Friday. There's reports of these fighter jets that were shot out of the sky. They're saying it was a two-man crew pilot. Reportedly, one might have been rescued. I'm trying to look into that now. They said it was a two-man crew, I believe I read. Let me play this here, this report.
Local app, but we're tracking breaking international news where Iranian state media are reporting that a U.S. fighter pilot ejected from their aircraft after it was hit earlier today over southern Iran. So here's the details as we know them right now from our website, again, fox35orlando.com. A U.S. pilot ejected after fighter jet hit.
Well, this is a U.S.
Scroll
pilot.
down a little bit here, try to make it so that
the pilot or pilots. That's what we got to find out. Is it one or two pilots?
It's not jarring for you, but there's still a lot we don't know. This is according to local news media in Iran, saying that fighter jet was hit and that the pilot or pilots ejected from the aircraft. Still a lot of questions about their condition, their whereabouts. There's a lot we don't know right now. We're also citing a New York Times report that Central Command has several task forces set up in the event that they would need to execute a search and rescue for.
Thank you for keeping the most relevant stories up to date.
Thank you, Mamakins.
Red heart emoji.
Thank you, Mamakins. Breaking X on X says that reports coming in that one U.S. pilot rescued. So listen, this is kind of serious because Iran had posted like a bounty. They're like, oh, if you find them, we'll give you a reward or something like that. And this comes after Trump's, address to the nation, where, I mean, pretty much he said he's been saying this every week. I feel like he says they're destroyed. They're completely destroyed. They have nothing left. They're decimated. They're just little parts left. And then you hear stuff like this,
Any troops that may be shot down. So again, still a lot of questions right now about this, but we are monitoring that. Want to let you know we'll be keeping a close eye on any statements or updates or confirmation from the United States that comes in. We are watching that. Meanwhile, here's a little bit of context for you also in the story on fox35orlando.com that earlier this week, the U.S. sent thousands of troops to the Middle East, as well as a ship, the USS George H.W. Bush, 3 destroyers that were sent to the Middle East, carrier strike group consisting of more than 6,000 sailors, the majority of them part of a rotation of forces. But
that's pretty crazy. And something I never got to cover, I don't know if you guys had heard, Mark Dice actually covered it. There was a U.S. carrier that had you ever heard about this shit, that had a fire on it out there, and then there was like reports that they thought maybe it was like intentional. I don't know if somebody was trying to sink the ship or something, so they took the ship from the Middle East, like they moved it. I don't know what happened to that ship. Something weird was going on that didn't make sense. I don't know if they were just bullshitting and something else happened that caused a fire on that carrier. I'm kind of side eyeing and looking at everything coming out with the story. Let me just check here too for the live updates. I really just kind of wanted to come on and check in with you guys, because yesterday I only came on once, and there was a bunch of drama happening yesterday too. I don't know if I'll cover that or not, or maybe on the second page, but I figured just to get established today, jump in. Iran war live updates. American fighter jets downed over Iran. That is crazy. The fate of the plane's crew was unclear, as American officials scrambled to mount a search and rescue operation. Iranian state media also said the jet had been down. Wow. I mean, I don't know. Could be pure luck. At some point, you have to hit something. At some point, so many shots, eventually you're going to hit something, I guess. Let's see what the updates are. Iran state broadcaster published images on Friday. Damn, they published images on Friday that it said showed wreckage of the downed U.S. jet. The images show the wingtip of the top section of a vertical stabilizer. Oh. Yeah, that vertical stabilizer. Once that's gone, you're pretty much done. I mean, there's a small chance you'll come out of that. That's actually what happened to that huge plane. I forgot what it was, the Stratosphere. The two US big planes that hit each other, and one survived, the other one crashed. And I think the people on there died. The tip of the top section of the wingtip, their vertical stabilizer was damaged. It wasn't completely destroyed, but it was damaged. So it says from a U.S. Air Force F-15E Strike Eagle. Hmm. He said markings on the vertical stabilizer section were consistent with the 494th Fighter Squadron based in RAF. Okay. Damn, bro, this is wild. They even said they had helicopters out there searching. This would be like a prize for them if Iran were able to take a pilot hostage. Oh, this would be, they'd be celebrating. Oh, I can imagine the horrible things that they would do, because maybe they'd try to even post videos or do something, make a mockery. I don't know the horrible things that they might do. So they say it's a two-man crew. I'm gonna check flight radar too to see if there's anything on there. It's a two-man crew. There's reports that one person was found. Somebody's saying one pilot found. I haven't confirmed that yet. I'm gonna check X now. If that's the case, that's great. Then I'm assuming there's another person missing. For the first time since the beginning of Operation Epic Fury, Iran has shot down an American fighter jet. That is crazy. Crazy.
Is claiming that its forces downed a U.S. military fighter jet in central Iran. State media have released a series of photos, they say, of supposed proof. CNN's Jim Sciutto is live this morning in Tel Aviv to start us off this hour. Jim, what's the very latest you're hearing about this?
So, Kate, I want to begin again, as I began last hour, by saying we need to be very careful with this. Iranian state media, as you noted, is reporting that Iran has downed a U.S. military jet over Iran. The U.S. military has not yet commented on this or confirmed it, though multiple folks from CNN have now reached out to Central Command asking that exact question. What we do know is that images are emerging online of wreckage from what appears to be a U.S. military aircraft. One particular piece of that wreckage appears to be part of a tail section vertical stabilizer of what would be consistent with F-15 fighter jet. Now, that is a jet that has two pilots. You may remember that three F-15s were shot down by friendly fire over Kuwait in the early days of this war. So once again, Iran is claiming this. There are a number of images online that show wreckage on the ground, and you have Iranian state TV broadcasting images of that wreckage. But again, we're seeking comment or confirmation from the U.S. military, and the U.S. military to date is not yet doing so.
Damn. Alan Thrift, thank you for the super chat. Says my old squadron is searching for 41st RQS from Moody AFB, the Pave Hawk crew. The C-130 is the 71st RQS. Thank you. Thank you for your service. I was looking at flight radar too to see what's going on around there. Shot down over Iran. So this was 3 hours ago they were showing this. Oh, here's some image though. This is recent. Iran. You can see the plane, the damage of the aircraft. I wonder how far away these pilots, once maybe it depends how high they are. Once they do the emergency evacuation, how far from the airplane can they land on that parachute? Claim they fired down an American fighter jet and put a bounty on the missing pilots. They're saying newly developed and advanced air defenses had downed the jet, which was completely destroyed and crashed. It would be the first known jet loss of a jet inside the country since the start of the war. A U.S. F-35A was damaged over Iran on March 19. A combat mission and 16 MQ-9 drones have been shot down. Wow, they shot a lot of these drones down. These are unmanned though, the MQ-9s. 3 American F-15 fighter jets were also shot down over Kuwait in a friendly fire incident. Iranian media claimed the latest allegedly downed jet was an F-35 stealth jet, but images reportedly showing pieces of the destroyed aircraft more closely resemble an F-15. Hellcat. It's a really cool looking jet. The anchor of the local affiliate, the state TV broadcaster, urged Iranians to hunt down the enemy pilot or pilots. The outlet claimed that at least one pilot had ejected from the aircraft over southwestern Iran. If you capture the enemy pilot or pilots alive, hand them over to the police. You will receive a precious prize. They don't even tell you what the amount is. They don't tell you what's the reward. Precious. You get a precious prize. Man, pray for these guys that or women, I don't know who it is, but you know what I'm saying in general, pray for these soldiers, men out there that they are not caught by these people, because I can only imagine the horrendous things that they could do, the things that they could plot, or I don't know if they would just use them for a gambling chip, or if we would even negotiate with terrorists, even though the saying is don't negotiate with terrorists, and we do it all the time. Let me see here. I want to get an official update as if that one person was rescued at least. Let me open up XDMs. There's rumblings that's one person was rescued. Stooge. Thank you so much for the 5. Okay, they're saying, yeah, thank you for the tags. Heart of God. One U.S. pilot has been rescued alive after the fighter jet was shot down. The search for the second continues. That was posted 20 minutes ago. One crew member from the downed fighter jet was rescued. Yeah, okay, they're saying officially. Let me pull that up. What we got here? Yes. Well, that's good news at least. Yeah, one crew member from downed F-15E jet rescued. But it's a 2-member crew. I hope that this other person, man, is found and rescued. News now. saying?
Happens in the media is something, a statement takes hold and it burns through like wildfire before it's been validated. Friends, these are validated, real facts.
So they're saying Trump was briefed on the downed aircraft and also soon CENTCOM.
Blasio and the New York Democrats.
Soon CENTCOM on U.S. pilot down in Iran. I guess maybe they're going to speak on it. Oh, they had a whole thing over here. Let's check this out. We have information on it. While we wait for CENTCOM, I'm actually gonna put this up on my other screen. Oh, I thought this shit was on. Oh shit. Gonna put this up on my other screen and keep an eye on it. So when if CENTCOM comes on to speak about it officially, we'll be on it. Let me check out the CBS. Oh,
Americans. This is the first confirmed loss of a U.S. jet in
Damn.
Iran since the war began more than a month ago. I want to bring in senior national security correspondent Charlie D'Agata. He has the very latest from London. So, Charlie, what do we know? What do we don't know or not know at this point?
Yeah, Kelly, so we just got that confirmation from U.S. officials who tell us that an F-15 fighter jet did come down over Iranian airspace, and a search and rescue operation is underway. A combat search and rescue is what they call it. Iranian state broadcaster aired footage. He said what they said was wreckage of a downed jet, and that wreckage was found in central Iran. In fact, one of the images appears to show an ejection seat. So the F-15 Strike Eagle fighter jet can be a one-seater or two-seater variant. So the number of crew involved is still unclear. A statement on Iranian television urging residents to join the hunt for the pilot or pilots, offering a bounty for any U.S. service members dead or alive. And there are reports from the Iranians, again, that there are heavy clashes underway between the Iranian military on the ground and the search and rescue attempts and teams, which obviously have to be conducted at low level, which of course puts U.S. service members at risk and within reach. Again, we're still awaiting the details about the status of the pilot or pilots, but it calls into question claims from U.S. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth and others that the United States and Israeli forces, for that matter, have achieved air superiority. In fact, moments ago, we just learned that the governor of that southwest province says whoever captures or kills the crew of that downed jet will be specially commended by the government.
Yeah, this certainly does change the situation here. I mean, based on what you've
saying Trump briefed. Is Trump going to be pissed? Is Trump going to rain hell?
Been briefed on.
I mean, they've claimed we've rained hell on Iran 10 times already and that everything was destroyed. What is Trump's reaction going to be to this now? I guess it depends if that other pilot is found. We're saying the first pilot was found. It depends if the other pilot gets found.
Breaking news coming in.
A little
Fox
up, yeah, I
News
can do
Channel.
that.
The president has now been briefed on a downed F-15 fighter jet in Iran. This is a U.S. fighter jet. We are also told a statement from CENTCOM is expected shortly. We want to bring in the chief national security correspondent, Jennifer Griffin, with more on this. Jen, what are you hearing?
Well, Trace, we had some details of this alleged downed F-15E fighter jet that went down in southwest Iran. It's in the province that is actually closest to Karg Island, which we've been hearing so much about. We had withheld reporting on this until now because there was an active search and rescue operation ongoing. But now that we've learned that the president has been briefed on the downed F-15, we are getting some details from open source online showing that the actual pilot seat from the F-15 was seen on the ground, suggesting that at least one of the pilots had ejected, and the pilot was not present at that site where the photo was taken. So that suggests that one may have survived at least.
Oh.
There are 2 pilots in an F-15E, and they would have been flying. We see also some open source video showing that there were 2 search and rescue helicopters that were being refueled midair in daylight. That would suggest, again, an urgency to that search and rescue mission, because it would be rare to conduct a search and rescue mission with low-flying helicopters over an area that is possibly contested, given that this happened during the daylight hours. It shows an urgency and a suggestion that the pilots may have survived.
Damn. Yeah, because in this thing here, I thought they said they saw one of the, well, they saw one of the part of the seats or something. Does the seat comes out completely, right, when they eject? I'm gonna keep checking X while we watch. And I'm also going to watch for CENTCOM. I don't know if CENTCOM's doing any kind of, I don't know if they're going to have to say something officially. Race to find downed pilots. Reports that one of 2 crew members from the downed U.S. F-15 has been rescued. No word on the second pilot. So there's a mad dash, I guess, to find this other pilot. Because how bad would it look? I mean, first of all, it'd be a horrible thing for another American soldier to be killed. But also, I mean, just the optics too. You know, Trump did the national address and everything. It's, you know, and then another person's killed.
Not happy about it. This is a big reason why I was very concerned about getting involved in this conflict, that this was always going to be a reality. I know that the Iranians had procured some significant air defense equipment from the Chinese. When the attack first happened, I was wondering, why didn't they utilize this equipment that they purchased from the Chinese? And what could have been done was they kind of trapped the United States and said, hey, they got air superiority, or they think they have air superiority. And then what might have happened is they broke out some of the actual real equipment now. So I hope that, we're able to find our boys before they catch them, because I would agree with some of the other panelists here that if these guys are captured, it's going to be a political nightmare, and it's going to put us in a very unfavorable position when it comes to diplomacy. Right now, the Strait is closed. We saw a barrel of crude hit $104 yesterday. It stabilized a bit, but we're still well over $100. Trump gave his address where, I'll be honest with you guys, he didn't really address a lot of the main issues. He kind of talked about military wins and everything else like that. He's kind of banking on people not understanding the more deeper and significant geopolitical ramifications of this conflict. But right now, I just hope that we get to those guys before the Iranians do, because if they're captured, this is going to be a big fucking problem.
Well, I mean, I feel like I kind of tuned out with the national address a bit. I was here with you guys watching it. But the thing that stood out to me is just like, when he mentioned too, like, oh, we have so much gas. We have so much gas in reserves, and we have all this. We don't even need them. But, I mean, for the American people, gas prices are soaring. I'm paying more gas. I mean, I'm fine. I'm okay if I have to pay some gas here and there. I don't drive so much. I'm very home a lot, and my daughter's school is close by. But for some people, that's like killing them probably, like this gas money on top of groceries and everything else. So I don't know. It just doesn't seem to reflect what's being said and what's actually happening. And that's the big problem with politics. I think is what's being said and what's actually happening. Is the reality of what's actually happening, and what you're telling us is happening. They're talking about it. Let me play this over here too, live on Fox. Let me just kind of let's see what they're saying here. Forgot my new setup here. There we go. Let's see.
Fighter jet It would mark the first time the U.S. has lost aircraft in Iranian territory and marks a dramatic escalation in the war since it started 5 weeks ago. It was not clear just yet if the jet was shot down or if it crashed. We're working to get some information on that, and the number of crew on board not immediately known either. The White House, Pentagon, and U.S. Central Command didn't immediately respond to messages there from the Associated Press, Fox News Digital, and other outlets. So we are waiting to get more information. Now, Hakeem Jeffries there, the House Minority Leader, saying closely monitoring the news that an F-15 has been shot down in Iran, praying for the crew as well as the safety of all the troops involved in the search and rescue effort. May God continue to watch over all of our service members in harm's way. Again, this conflict here, Operation Epic Fury, continuing to the 5-week mark. That's going to be tomorrow, as we know that President Trump says this could continue here for another 2 to 3 weeks, possibly even longer, as the mission objectives are very clear. What I'm going to do right now is head back over to that news conference with Florida Lieutenant Governor Jay Collins, as he was talking all about security there over at MacDill Air Force Base, that is in Florida, specifically the Tampa area.
On these issues, and absolutely incredible that you could be here today, and thank you for braving traffic. I know it was brutal. I really appreciate you. So what are we going to do about this? Well, as your next governor, I want to be very clear. When I put things out, I don't do things for shock value. I do them because I know them to be right. We have put the time in to understand the legalities, and we can step in there knowing that what we're doing protects our people. That is the most important part of what we do. I think it's time to ban visa holders from all nations of terror and or espionage and concern from attending Florida universities and working for Florida companies relying on government contracts. We have to protect our people. We have multiple cases and instances already. I'll continue to be a staunch advocate for the Department of Homeland Security's Fusion Center model, but the simple fact is this: fusing and utilizing federal, state, and local assets effectively is critical in how we do this. That's good government. Spending, training, operating, communicating together. We have to discuss the counterintelligence aspect of these threats. A bill was run this year that addressed that. Let me be very clear. Spying on citizens is not the same thing as counterintelligence. They are quite different. Our citizens have our laws, our Constitution that protect them. When people come in and are spying on our bases, on our people, and putting folks at risk, there is a line. We are going to have to understand that threat and risk. Counter-terror training for state and local law enforcement has to continue to happen. And we're going to have to press federal law when it comes to drones and drone mitigation. Right now, our state assets' hands are tied. Friends, it's only a matter of time before cyber, offensive operations, or advanced drone attacks happen on our soil. That keeps me up at night. Our law enforcement's hands are tied. They have to ask for permission to do that and deal with them. We have to ensure we're effectively using the BPAT, the Business Partners Against Terror program. What this does is trains private sector executives to notice strange things, nefarious potential terrorist behavior with critical industries.
Still talking?
Here's a novel idea. Let's work with our community leaders to protect our people. Often, the points of emphasis and internalization because of your political beliefs.
Okay. I got away.
You've seen so far with throughout this war. I mean, how does this change the negotiations that may happen between Iran and the U.S.? I mean, it feels like a very different playing field than it was a couple of hours ago.
Yeah, well, Kelly, it goes down to air superiority. So it was actually a couple of weeks ago, I was in the region reporting it, that the United States and the Israelis said that they had essentially knocked out all of Iran's air defenses, meaning that they could not reach any of the fighter jets that were on these bombing missions. And we're talking about thousands of bombing missions with F-15 fighter jets alleged to have gone down, F-35 stealth fighter jets, F-22s that have been engaged in fighting and targeting these areas. And they said they've essentially been able to fly with impunity over these areas. Where this changes the playing field dramatically is the fact that, well, if this is what it appears to be, and that is that a U.S. fighter jet was shot down, not just crashed, but shot down over Iran, then it shows that they continue to maintain a reach. And I can tell you from my own experience from just reporting there, it was also claimed that the Iranians had lost 90% of their missile launch capabilities, and those are related. But the Iranians have continued to launch missiles, some of those longer range missiles, both into Israel and U.S. targets, Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, the UAE, again, those targeting areas in that region, in the Gulf, even today. So there seems to be an overestimation of what the United States and Israel has been able to do to decimate Iran's air defenses, but we're going to have to find out more details about their capabilities at the moment.
All right, Charlie, appreciate that. I want to bring in CBS News national security analyst Aaron McClain. He's a U.S. Marine veteran and a former foreign policy advisor on Capitol Hill, so the perfect person to have with me in this situation. So I want to start with what this fighter jet would have been doing in the region.
Well, you've heard the Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, talk recently about how the military is able to move to dynamic targeting over Iran. That is to say, we have aircraft in the airspace conducting missions over Iran, but then they get retasked. They hear there's a missile launcher over here. You go fly over here and bomb it. And what that suggests is we are operating in a situation where we think we have air superiority, and our aircraft can essentially loiter over Iran and go find and prosecute new targets. Obviously, the longer you loiter, the more risk you have. It's possible here that the United States military may have missed one of Iran's higher-end air defense systems, or perhaps the Iranians were concealing it and saving it for later in the campaign. It's also possible, essentially, that a lower-quality system just got a lucky shot as this aircraft went by.
Well, because this is in broad daylight, too. So the lucky shot narrative could be more possible.
Well, in the search and rescue mission, I mean, there's astonishing images, we've seen and some proliferating across social media of Air Force C-130s, Black Hawk helicopters, variants thereof, operating low and pretty slow in broad daylight over Iran, looking for this downed aircrew. It's the kind of thing you would only do in a situation where you were willing to assume extraordinary risk because your objective was so important, namely saving some lives here.
And perhaps felt very confident that you did have that air superiority. We know that a search and rescue mission, is underway. What would something like that look like? I mean, this is hostile territory, obviously, that we're dealing with.
So there's a whole community of the United States military and of our Special Operations Command that doesn't get as much press as like the Navy SEALs and the Delta Force and guys like that. There's an Air Force.
They're saying, okay, again, officially one crew member has been rescued, found alive. They said this person was found in southern Iran. Well, Israel canceled planned strikes today in Iran so that not to hamper the ongoing search and rescue efforts. They're saying a second crew member has yet to be rescued, though. All right, that's
Special Operations Command and a pararescue unit within that is dedicated to these kinds of missions. Those guys have been in the region, essentially staged and waiting for something like this. This is, not to be flippant about it, but this is game day for them. I mean, it's obviously a tragedy if one of these crew members is hurt or, God forbid, dead, but they are out there doing the mission for which they've been trained year after year, and in an extremely hazardous situation where it's daylight, they're visible. Obviously, one of the ironies of an operation like this is you assume a lot of risk to go and rescue other people who have already been shot down.
And just give us the historical context. When is the last time that we have seen something like this happen where a U.S. fighter jet is down in hostile territory and we have to go in and rescue?
The truth is there's actually not been much over the recent decades, which speaks to sort of American military dominance in the kind of campaigns that we've waged. There was a jet that went down over Syria in the last decade. We lost a number of helicopters in Iraq and Afghanistan, but you really have to go back to the 90s to see a high rate of this kind of thing. The first Gulf War, for example, there were a number of aircraft shot down. Similar, fewer, but still a few shot down over the former Yugoslavia in the late 90s. We are not particularly used to operating in an environment where there's heavily contested airspace. Obviously, here in Iran, we're encountering that here about, 5 weeks into the campaign. It's a very serious consideration.
All right, Aaron McClain, appreciate your context and analysis. I want to bring in Elizabeth Palmer, who's in Tel Aviv this morning. Liz, can you sort of paint the picture of what we're hearing from Iranian state media?
Reading the tea leaves a little bit because they haven't confirmed where this jet went down, but it does appear to be in Khuzestan province, which is right at the head of the Persian Gulf, very close to Karg Island, the great oil terminal that President Trump has threatened to take. Now, the governor has said that if somebody does find the pilot, who is assumed to be out there somewhere, there will be a reward of $50,000, which is a great deal of money in Iran. And if they do get the pilot, the Iranian playbook is sort of to put him on television. So if they do seize him, I expect that we'll see him fairly quickly on television as a sort of a very valuable, if you like, prize of war to parade in front of the U.S. and its allies. We're waiting to hear confirmation now from the Iranians. At the moment, there's just a lot of chatter and excitement, and this sort of general directive to people to go out and see if they can find what's assumed to be the missing pilot.
Yeah, the image that you have now put in my mind, Liz, of an American potentially on Iranian television, that certainly would change the narrative. Appreciate your time. It's a perfect segue to bring in Weijia Jiang at the White House, because, of course, Weijia, the narrative from the White House has been that Iranians' capabilities are decimated. We heard the president.
Everything's gone. There's nothing left. They're barely getting by. They're struggling. There's nothing to worry about. Everything's pretty much, and the Strait of Hormuz is open, and it's opening naturally, natural causes. Everything is okay. Oh, they said.
This week in a primetime address. What are you hearing from the White House, if anything?
Kelly, at this hour, we are hearing nothing from the White House or President Trump, despite multiple requests, multiple texts, emails for comment. Nothing so far, but you're right that it was just 2 nights ago that the president addressed the nation and said that Iran had essentially been eviscerated and that it is no longer a threat. The president said, quote, "We've done all of it. Their Navy is gone. Their Air Force is gone. Their missiles are just about used up or beaten, taken together." So the president was really projecting that the U.S. was able to take out all of Iran's capabilities in terms of those things, but clearly that is not the case. So we are waiting to hear how this changes the calculation, Kelly, for how to proceed next and for whether this alters the president's plan for staying in Iran, for withdrawing, because clearly this is an escalation.
All right, we just.
Man, how you guys feeling, man? Let me see. This guy's still talking, huh? I'm gonna check the flight radar. Check for some updates. Okay, let's see here. Oh. Fix this a little bit. Ooh. Okay. Keep an eye on this page here. So 1 rescued, 1 still missing. Hamilton Beach. Artemis.
Tampa and, of course, houses CENTCOM, which is where we're getting our updates here on Operation Epic Fury and the situation with Iran. Right now, I do want to take you out to the latest as we continue to follow the developments there out of the Middle East, including a downed U.S. jet. Again, we knew that Iranian state media was saying that a U.S. jet had been, quote unquote, shot down over Iran. And Iranian officials were urging civilians to go out and find this pilot or pilots and bring them in alive in order to collect a reward. As of right now, Phil Stewart with Reuters just putting this out, saying Israeli media citing Israeli officials say that one U.S. crew member rescued after a fighter jet downed over Iran. Again, all of this developing, so a lot of pieces are coming together at this point. We also know that President Trump, according to Fox News, has been briefed on the situation multiple times and is being kept up to date. Now, again, Iran has urged civilians to go out and search there and capture the pilot in exchange for some kind of reward. But we know that the U.S. military and Israel have launched that rescue operation after Iranian state media said that an American fighter jet went down over southwestern Iran and at least one crew member was ejected there. We do not know the total number of people who were on board at this point, but we are told at least one crew member here, according to Israeli media, has been rescued. We also know that Israel is helping the U.S. with the search and rescue operation. That is according to Israeli military officers who spoke with the Associated Press and, of course, the information you're seeing on your screen from Reuters. Social media footage showed American drones, aircraft, and helicopters flying over that mountainous region where the Iranian channel said at least one pilot bailed out of the fighter jet. It would mark the first time that the U.S. has lost an aircraft in Iranian territory and marks a dramatic escalation in the war since it began 5 weeks ago. The number of crew on board not known, as I mentioned right away here. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt said in a statement that President Trump has been briefed. The statement did not include any additional information. Now, the Pentagon and U.S. Central Command did not immediately respond to messages here from the Associated Press, Reuters, and Fox News. An anchor on a channel affiliated with Iranian state television urged residents to hand over any, quote, enemy pilot to police and promised a reward for anyone who did. That channel is an intensely rural and mountainous region. That's where it's located there, and it spans over about 5,900 square miles. Authorities also urging the public to search for the pilot in neighboring provinces as well.
Crazy. According to Axios, U.S. Special Forces recovered the crew member of the downed F-15. Following ongoing CSAR operations, the search and rescue is still going for the second. Additionally, Israel has paused strikes on Iran. And apparently Pete Hegseth fires two more generals, David Hodney and William Green Jr., alongside with Army Chief Staff Randy George, per Reuters. Damn. Reports say Israel is not involved in U.S. rescue operations for the downed pilot. Why not? They should be involved. Or maybe it would interfere. They should be involved, provide cover, intelligence, whatever the fuck you can do. What do you mean they're not involved? U.S. helicopters seen refueling. This is so dope. During mid-air search. Refueling mid-air during search. That's pretty cool. Let me show you guys this. Simultaneous refueling during search.
Throughout the war, Iran has made a series of claims about shooting down piloted enemy aircraft that turned out not to be true. Friday was the first time that Iran went on television urging the public, though, to look for a suspected downed pilot. An on-screen crawl earlier urged the public to, quote, shoot them if you see them, referring to social media footage that was circulating of what appeared to be U.S. aircraft in the area. The channel showed metal debris in the back of a pickup truck while making the announcement, but provided no other immediate details. Again, this is all developing here at this hour, and we will make sure to keep you updated on Live Now from Fox as we get additional information. A reminder here that Reuters' Phil Stewart posting this, saying Israeli media citing Israeli officials say that one U.S. crew member rescued after that fighter jet was downed over Iran. Now, we had Matthew Wiz Buckley joining us a short time ago, and it's interesting to point out that there is a distinction there as Iran claims that they shot this down, but there's always the possibility that it was an equipment malfunction or something of that nature. And Wiz said essentially that is a very important distinguishing factor that we need to look at. We also have this live look right here. This is outside of the White House as we're waiting to see if any U.S. officials with the Trump administration will walk by here and provide any comment. Of course, there's no question they will be asked about this if they do walk up to that microphone. And we'll, of course, bring you updates here on Live Now from Fox. As I mentioned, Fox News reporting, specifically Peter Doocy, that President Trump is being repeatedly up-to-the-minute briefed on this situation. We also know that CENTCOM is expected to release something, whether or not that's video, a statement, additional information that is yet to be seen. But Reuters reporting that one of those pilots has been rescued after that jet was downed over Iran. Right now, we are going to head to a quick 2-minute commercial break at 12:20 on the East Coast and 9:20 on the West Coast. You're watching Live Now from Fox. We'll be right back. My name is Josh Breslow, and I've been here for the past several hours as we break down a breaking news alert that we have been following now for a couple hours as information is slowly coming in. Again, there on the right-hand side of your screen, you are taking a live look over the White House as we follow the latest on Operation Epic Fury. Take a look at this post coming in from Phil Stewart with Reuters. Now, he says that Israeli media citing Israeli officials now say that one U.S. crew member has been rescued after a fighter jet was downed over Iran. There are several different media outlets that are reporting that there were 2 people on board. Again, the U.S. has not confirmed that just yet, but Reuters saying via Israeli media that one of those pilots on board at least has been rescued. We are hearing from Senator Chuck Schumer, who says, I'm praying for the safe return of the crew aboard the fighter jet and all of those working to rescue them in these dangerous conditions. We're also hearing from other lawmakers who are posting on social media. We have Barack Ravid over at Axios saying White House press secretary told me, quote, the president has been briefed on the downed fighter jet incident. So again, as we've mentioned here over the last several hours, it sounds as though Fox News and Axios saying that President Trump has been kept up to date, briefed multiple times as all of this has played out over the past several hours. Hakeem Jeffrey saying closely monitoring the news that an F-15 has been shot down in Iran, praying for the crew as well as the safety of all the troops involved in that search and rescue effort. May God continue to watch over all of our service members in harm's way. Now, if you are just joining us, I want to go over just some of what we know so far, as we know that a U.S. fighter jet was down over Iran and a search and rescue operation underway for survivors. That is according to 2 U.S. officials speaking with Reuters. This is the first known incident since the war began nearly 5 weeks ago in Iran specifically. We know there were some downed aircraft that happened over in Kuwait towards the start of the conflict, but that was friendly fire. And this one, if it does turn out that this jet was shot down, would not be friendly fire. The prospect of U.S. pilots being alive and on the run inside Iran raises the stakes here for the U.S. in a conflict that's struggling to win more and more support there. We know that the U.S. and Israel currently are working together in this rescue operation. Peter Doocy over at Fox News saying, I'm told President Trump has been briefed about the downed F-15 in Iran and has been continually briefed about it throughout the morning and, of course, now into the afternoon. Want to get to, again, the latest details that we know so far. All of this continuing to come into our newsroom here. And if you are just joining us, this is from the Associated Press. It says, breaking, the U.S. has launched a rescue operation after Iranian state media claims an American fighter jet went down in Iran. At least one source telling that to the Associated Press. Now, Israel is helping the U.S. with the search and rescue operation, according to an Israeli military officer who spoke to the Associated Press. Social media footage showing American drones, aircraft, and helicopters that were flying over the mountainous region where the Iranian channel said that at least one pilot bailed out of the fighter jet. It would mark the first time here that the U.S. has lost aircraft in Iranian territory and marks a dramatic escalation in the war since it all started. Tomorrow will mark 5 days since the start of Operation Epic Fury. The number of crew on board not immediately known. As I mentioned, Reuters saying that one person at least has been rescued. However, we do not have any additional information about that just yet. What I want to do is pop this up on your screen. This is a little bit about what we know at the current time as we take a live look outside of the White House. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt saying in a statement that, once again, President Trump has been briefed. The statement, though, did not include any additional information, and the Pentagon and U.S. Central Command have not responded to several messages there from the Associated Press, Reuters, and Fox News with additional information. We, of course, will continue to follow all of the latest developments, and I want to pop this up here as we have a live look outside of the White House. Now, sometimes we see members of the Trump administration walk out and speak to those microphones, answer questions from reporters. As you can imagine, if anyone does that, this is going to be a topic of discussion. So we'll bring that to you as soon as we see anyone walk up to those microphones right there on your screen. We do have to sneak away.
Okay. So we'll see if they give any comment. I'm scanning and checking X to see any updates. One pilot rescued, the other still missing. I'm also looking at flight radar. Maybe we'll put flight radar on the screen. Also kind of checking out flight radar to see what's going on. I hope they find this person. Some people are a little not happy with me. Some people on X because I disagree with this particular situation. I mean, yeah, I don't think this was a good idea. This excuse me. This war thing. I mean, I could be wrong. I'm not an expert, but I don't think it's a good thing. And somebody was like, "Oh, you sound like a communist." Somebody said you sound like a communist, and I said you sound like a liberal, like an NPC. You can't disagree or something on something. If you disagree, then that's it. Because they call you Nazi over there. I don't think it was a good thing. That's just my opinion. I could be wrong. Okay, so we'll take that off the screen. Let's see what they're tracking over here. Tel Aviv. I'm not the only one. Oh, wait, I'm looking at the wrong thing here. Israel, Jordan. Wait, what the hell? I'm gonna close this. Oh, upgrade. You gotta. Oh, I gotta log in. I was about to say. Israel, Jordan, Lebanon. I don't know, man. I don't feel good about it. I've already said it multiple times. I don't feel good about it. Around one night in the middle of the night, I woke up. I mean, I wake up all the time in the middle of the night, but random stuff. But I woke up and I was like thinking about the war and I was scrolling. I just had like this really bad feeling in the pit of my stomach, and that school that was bombed by us. I believe they said it was us. They just stopped talking about that school. 100-something kids.
I'm not an aviator, but I have friends that are aviators. But the best people to rescue downed aviators in the world are United States Marines. I remind your viewers in 1995.
Some people are saying send in the Marines for the rescue.
Air Force pilot Scott O'Grady was shot down and evaded the enemy in Bosnia for 6 days. The 24th Marine Expeditionary Unit went in and extracted him and rescued him. We have 2 Marine Expeditionary Units, the 11th and the 31st in the area. Those guys have a mission for the tactical recovery of aircraft and personnel, trap missions. So right now, there are Marines that are either on their way to go get the pilot as soon as we know where he is, or they are in the helicopter ready to go. I'm not an aviator.
I'm going to look into it too, but I would figure they'd have to have some kind of GPS, don't they? Attached to the emergency. Let me look into that. Some people, you could lie to them all day long and tell them this and that and get, they'll be told something, but the actions are different and they'll keep accepting it because if it's from their God and Savior, they'll never question it. God forbid you question it. And then other people, well, you're going to start asking some questions. Some people will jump off a cliff for you or their favorite person or their favorite fucking YouTuber or their favorite politician. These people will jump off a cliff and kill themselves, sacrifice their own family. Retard. Okay. Let me see. Is there... So there is beacons. That's what I figured. Integrated in their injection seats and survival gear. I wonder if the beacon, what's going on with the beacon? The F-15 uses ACES 2 ejection seat with upgrades or transitions towards ACES 5 in some cases, a personnel locator beacon, URT-46, older URT-44, URT-33, or commercial equivalents, like the SLB 2100 survivor locator beacon is packed in survival kit. Automatic activation upon ejection via pull pin, G switch, or lanyard connected to the seat, transmits on multiple frequencies. Satellite system for global detection with GPS position data, plus 121.5 megahertz and 243 megahertz for homing by rescue aircraft. Modern versions include embedded GPS for precise location within meters, which is broadcast on the distress signal. Some systems also support voice communications. Beacons can sometimes fail, though. Historical USAF data showed failure rates in testing and training through newer models like URT-46 were introduced to improve reliability. In combat, electronic warfare, jamming terrain, or damage during ejection and / landing could also affect performance. Okay. 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 Let's see what else. What else are they saying? That's not true. Oh, hell no. These are the people that try to bomb the Air Force Base? It's been revealed that these Chinese siblings who attempted to bomb MacDill Air Force Base headquarters in the U.S. Central Command are anchor babies born to 2 Chinese nationals who illegally entered the U.S. in the 1990s. Ungrateful bastards. You know, these kids are so ungrateful now, little ungrateful bitches. Get out of here.
The device did not detonate, but minutes after the device was planted, a 911 call reported.
I can't stand these, like the younger, these ungrateful pieces of shit coming. Your mom and dad brought you here. But the anchor babies, though. What's the anchor baby mean? They just got dropped off or something? Got thrown here? Is that when they come illegally and then a child born to a non-citizen? Yeah. Anchor baby.
That a bomb had been placed on the base. When that phone call came in, no location for that bomb was in fact given in that 911 call.
The device was found on the base 6 days later. Thankfully, no one was hurt.
Exactly, Sassy. Multiple times, 3 times water for the guy. I'm just saying, I disagree with this. You've never had a disagreement with your friends? Or a lot of you NPCs are afraid and you'll never have a disagreement with a friend?
FBI Tampa also arresting the suspect's sister, Anne Mary Zhang, who is charged with accessory.
I shouldn't say all of you, because I think most of you are decent. There's a few people, you know.
After the fact and tampering with evidence. No motive was given, but MacDill Air Force Base is the headquarters of U.S. Central Command.
Central Command. Maybe I'm getting old too, man. You know, I feel more. I'm an empath. I feel on a different level than other people feel, on a higher level frequency. I'm just kidding. You ever hear those people, the empath people? I'm an empath. I don't know if I want to talk about this stuff or not later. I don't know. I want to get involved in the mess. I mean, I could possibly talk about it, not get involved. Maybe I don't know. It was messy. The JLR and Nerdy. They've had a long-standing history, of beefing. You know, I don't know. I think people want me to talk about it. I guess I'll see. I guess we'll figure it out. I don't know. Okay. CENTCOM. Let me see if CENTCOM has said anything about this. CENTCOM. Nothing from CENTCOM. I guess they're still waiting. Maybe they're waiting for the results of the search. If the second person is found, they can, be like, well, they're found. I really wonder what happened to the second pilot. The longer it takes, the worse it could potentially be. But I mean, who knows? Because the pilot, hopefully they survived. That's another thing, is to survive. They'll survive the landing. Hopefully they survived. And the source is Iranian. People are still thinking the fighter jet thing is fake. It's all over the news. Just Google. If you don't believe me, just Google it yourself. Whatever. Yeah, I can't even talk with those people. It's some people just can't. They have I don't know. Maybe it's disassociation, and that's how people survive. It's like a survival tactic. Some people just can't accept this is what's happening. It's a real story, but at the same time, you almost can't blame people, because it's so easily searchable. You can just search it up. It's so easily searchable. But we're also in the AI technology age. Everything's fake, and the fake stuff gets pushed to the front, and the real is like kind of hidden. Sometimes kind of hidden. This is not hidden though. This is all over the place.
I bet that balloon emoji, that went from Alaska to the East Coast, they know where everything is at.
CNN is reporting that President Trump has reached negative net approval with the working class, white voters, for the first time ever. I don't know if I trust CNN, but there's a lot of people that are not happy with this. They're not happy with this particular thing. I don't know what's going to be the outcome. See, Ron Paul.
Rand Paul, of course, of Kentucky there, saying my prayers are with the fighter jet crew and everyone involved in the rescue efforts. We are seeing folks on both sides of the aisle who are posting on social media, watching as all of this does play out. Chuck Schumer there saying I'm praying for the safe return of the crew aboard the fighter jet and all of those working to rescue them in these dangerous conditions. This area where this happened is a mountainous region, so essentially it is a very dangerous area, but U.S. officials saying that a search and rescue operation is underway. Fox News posting breaking. President Trump has been briefed on reports out of Iran that a U.S. F-15 fighter jet has been downed inside the country. That's according to Fox News' Peter Doocy, who has been in touch with the president, and Caroline Leavitt, the White House press secretary. Now, if you are just joining us, I, of course, want to get you to some of the latest information that we have coming into the newsroom. Again, all of this is developing here at this hour, but take a look at a live look over the White House and the information on the left-hand side of your screen at this point. The U.S. military launching a rescue operation after local Iranian state media said an American fighter jet went down over southwestern Iran earlier today, and at least one crew member was ejected. Israel helping the United States with the search and rescue operation. That information coming from an Israeli military officer who was briefed on the information and spoke to the Associated Press. Social media footage circulating all over showed American drones, aircraft, and helicopters that were flying over that mountainous region where the Iranian channel said at least one pilot bailed out of the fighter jet. Now, Reuters saying that one of those pilots, at the very least, has been rescued at this point, and it's not quite clear how many are on board. There are reports that there could potentially be two. Again, that is all something that is developing here at this hour, and we are working and waiting for an update from CENTCOM, from President Trump, Caroline Leavitt, and other officials, including Pete Hegseth with the Department of War. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt saying in a statement that President Trump has been briefed. The statement did not include any additional information. The Pentagon and U.S. Central Command not immediately responding to messages that are there seeking comment. Now, an anchor on a channel that's affiliated with Iranian state television urged residents to hand over any, quote, enemy pilot to police and promised a reward for anyone who did. That channel is in an intensely rural and mountainous region that spans over about 5,900 square miles. So we are talking a very large area, and authorities are also urging the public to search for the pilot in neighboring provinces. Throughout the war, Iran has made a series of claims about shooting down piloted enemy aircraft that turned out not to be true at all. Friday is the first time that Iran went on television urging the public to look for a suspected downed pilot. Now, we always have the experts join us here, and we are going to be joined by Behnam Ben Taleblu with the Foundation for Defense of Democracies. Going to bring him in now live to talk a little bit more about what we know and also what we don't know. Behnam, as always, thank you so much for taking the time to be here with us.
Great to be with you, Josh. Thanks for having me.
Of course. And first off, I want to talk to you a little bit about this region, this area where all of this is ongoing, because we know that a search and rescue operation is taking place, according to the Associated Press, Reuters, Fox News, and other agencies there. This is considered a mountainous region. It's apparently very local, so to speak. I have to imagine that an operation like this can be incredibly difficult.
Well, I think you hit the nail right on the head there. But first, before we kind of survey the terrain, both geographic and human, let me just say that my thoughts and prayers are with the families of the service persons. There are reports that there was an ejection. There are reports that there is, as you mentioned, a search and rescue mission underway. But ultimately, right now, we want to respect the privacy of the members of those families and keep them in our thoughts and prayers as that search and rescue mission that you mentioned goes out underway. Now, to the geographic heart of your question, this province is to Iran's southeast of the westernmost mountain chain called the Zagros Mountains. So you take that chain, which goes from north to south in the west, and you begin to move east, and you move into Loristan, Kokiri, and Buyur Ahmed province. And as you mentioned, yes, indeed, it is a more rural terrain, home to at least two different ethnic minorities around, the Lors and the Bakhtiyars, as well as lots of other urban, rural, and suburban migrants over the past 2 decades of internal migration in the Islamic Republic. But nonetheless, yes, I think that is one way you can describe the geography and the terrain there, which is mountainous and rural.
And right now we are hearing from the Associated Press as well as Reuters that at least one of those pilots has been rescued. We don't know the condition of that person. There's still a lot of unknowns, and we have heard that President Trump is being briefed on the situation. It appears that this would be the first situation where an aircraft for the U.S. has actually gone down in Iran during this situation. As I mentioned, it's obviously a search and rescue operation is going to be tough, but I have to imagine there's very tight timelines when you're talking about something like this.
Very tight timelines, again, because as you know, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps has every incentive to try to use and abuse this for propaganda purposes. You've already seen Iranian state TV, semi-official outlets, and hardline media outlets, both on traditional media and social media, talk about their own sort of search and not rescue mission to try to capture the downed American pilots for their own propaganda and other purposes when it comes to this regime and its enmity with America. So one does indeed fear the time and the time horizon that U.S. Special Forces and others are up against in a bid to rescue the other pilots. But the Islamic Republic is trying to do everything it can because of that historic first downing to try to turn this into a propaganda coup. And anyone who's been paying attention to the propaganda coming out of these platforms, again, on traditional and unofficial media, has known that that's to use everything from AI to misinformation to disinformation to even Legos to find a way to spew their invective.
It's also important to note that Iranian state media is claiming at this point that they shot this down. It's not clear if it was shot down, if it was maybe a mechanical
failure. Exactly.
Yeah, that's all that remains under investigation at this point. All of this is still developing. And that's what I wanted to talk to you about is the information that comes in from Iranian state media has to pretty much be taken with a grain of salt.
I don't know. So look at this, because I was tagged in this. This is what I saw earlier. Like they mentioned, I mean, again, I don't know. This is their Iranian state media. So, you know, you sometimes, or a lot of times, have to take it with a grain of salt, but it looks potentially legitimate. They're saying that this is one of the seats, ejection seats. The American narrative playbook these days say that the lock of target bank means dynamic operations defined failure as the end of the mission. Pass off disagreement and resignation as a change of command. Sell the need for agreement out of weakness. I don't know what the hell they're talking about. Interesting post. Can't determine whether the picture is real or the ejection seat shown as Aces 2 of F-15E. I don't know. They're saying is they're claiming this is one of the seats. I mean, it's possible. It's possible that the guy, whoever it is, could have landed and got the hell out of Dodge, because maybe they knew where they landed was dangerous and not safe, and they have to go undercover or something, or run and then hide or something. I don't know.
There and search for this pilot, try to capture them, and they'll get some kind of, I believe it was quote unquote precious prize. So essentially a reward for doing so. What does that tell us about the situation as a whole and how things operate there?
Well, it tells us a couple of things. It tells us that sui generis, or on its own, the government believed that the population would not have turned over the American or any other kind of foreign pilots that would have ejected in this situation. So it tells you a bit more about state-society relations. Number two, it allows you to glean potentially into the limited capabilities or capacity of the governments of the Islamic Republic, particularly after 1 month of war. I want to take viewers back to the spring of 2024, where you may remember there was a alleged mechanical failure and the downing of a helicopter in northwest Iran that contained Iran's foreign minister, a Friday prayer leader, as well as Iran's then President Ibrahim Raisi. And it took quite a while for Iranian drones and Iranian search and rescue missions to find, again, members of their cabinet and even the Iranian president. And reportedly, it was a Turkish drone that had found the area of the downed helicopter first. So in addition to telling you something about state-society relations, number two, it tells you something about the limited conventional capacity of the state, particularly under war. And number three, it tells you about the war that this regime has preferenced the whole time, which is not the actual fighting on the ground, but the propaganda war. And then the last thing I'll say is number four, if you're looking at what the street, quote unquote, is saying across Iran, again, with limited internet, plus that which the diaspora has been amplifying, it has actually been of people from that ethnic background, Lurs and Bakhtiyars, saying that they would treat them well. For example, this is a region in Iran known for lots of traditional game hunting, for example. And so there are already memes going around on Iranian social media about shelter being given to those downed pilots and actually sitting and grilling together and avoiding the government search and rescue mission. So who knows? Perhaps that could be a bit of projection, but there is a lot more to take in than just the face value propaganda that the government is spewing on these media channels. So in short, I think that tells us a lot about their shortcomings and a lot about their lack of trust in society, that this actually had to be said and amplified across multiple TV stations and social media.
How does the blackout, internet blackout that's been going on now for quite a while, how does that kind of factor into this? Because you have to imagine that a lot of people who are there maybe aren't getting the information in real time. I'm not sure how all of that would work, but how does that kind of factor in?
Well, there is still satellites, as you know. Satellite TV in areas and times when there is an internet blackout does matter very much, as well as that which the Iranian population is willing to say over landlines. And I have to tell you, just as a distant observer, in the month of January, where you had a 20-plus day internet blackout, and now I think a 33, 34-day internet blackout coterminous with this conflict, Iranians have been increasingly brave about sharing their views, values, and wishes, even on a landline, even per an international call that could be monitored. So at times when it has been harder to gain access to the World Wide Web, and they don't have Starlink or any other way of direct-to-cell communications, satellite television is a major source of information for your average Iranian, and that which they hear versus that which they pass along straight over the landline does grow in importance.
And you're looking at a post here from Fox News. As we mentioned, they say breaking, one pilot has been rescued. Intense search underway for second crew member after F-15 downed over Iran. A well-placed source there telling that to Fox News. We're also hearing it from the Associated Press and Reuters. There were questions about how many people were on board. And as you can see there, one pilot rescued, an intense search underway for a second. We are following this from each and every angle, and we'll continue to bring updates as soon as we get them. Ben Talablu there with the Foundation for Defense of Democracies. Thank you so much, as always, for taking the time to join us. Anything we missed, anything that you want to add about any of this before I let you go?
No, I would just once again re-up that caution that you rightly mentioned, Josh, which is to take anything coming out of Iranian government media, traditional media, and social media with a bit of grain of salt, shall we say. And let's keep our eyes peeled for that official CENTCOM statement about the status of the second pilot.
And of course, we are waiting on that CENTCOM statement as well. Thank you again, Ben Talablu with the Foundation for Defense of Democracies. And you are taking a live look outside of the White House, where we are told by Peter Doocy at Fox News, as well as other different agencies and outlets, that President Trump is being kept up to date, briefed here repeatedly on the situation with that jet downed over Iran. Again, important to note here, we do not know if this was shot down or if it was some kind of mechanical failure. We also know from the Associated Press and Fox News that at least one of the people on board have been rescued, and that an intense search is underway, according to Fox News, for another person who was on board. Iranian state media also saying that civilians should go out there and search, and they say if they capture anyone there, any of the pilots, they would make sure to give them a reward of sorts. So Ben and Ben Talablu talking a little bit more about what that tells us, essentially saying that it shows that they think civilians, talking about the government, would essentially house and protect the person. So they're offering a reward in the hopes of preventing that from happening. We will, of course, keep you updated here on Live Now from Fox as we get additional information, with CENTCOM expected to release more details here in the coming hours. We do have to head to our final 2-minute commercial break of the hour at 12:55 on the East Coast, 9:55 on the West Coast. You're watching Live Now from Fox. We'll be right back.
Pam Bondi. You guys heard about the picture frame? Damn, they're saying now, if the pilot parachute lands in Iran, is that considered boots on the ground? I don't know. New images show a portrait of Attorney General Pam Bondi tossed into trash bins at the Justice Department after Donald Trump fired her. Does that mean she tossed that shit, or who tossed it? There's reports that she begged Trump not to do it. Damn. This chick is like a demented person, though. This Art Candy, whatever the hell. Damn. Did she toss it? Was she pissed? She's got to be pissed. I'm sure she's not happy. She's begging him for more time. That's what the reports are saying.
Pilot has been rescued, and there's an intense search underway for a second crew member after an F-15 was down there over Iran. Again, that is according to Fox News. We learned earlier from Reuters about that rescue, but again, it appears that a second crew member, there's a search underway in that mountainous region where the F-15 went down. We'll keep you updated on all of that as we get additional information coming into the newsroom. Right now, I want to head to some of the other big stories that we are.
There's this guy on X claiming initial reports that the second pilot was rescued as well, but that was 30 minutes ago. I think we would have heard of it by now. A reminder that this is how they search for the missing helicopter of their president, who ended up eaten by bears. Is that true? The president got eaten by bears? No chance they'll find the U.S. pilot.
اسماعیلی همه میگن ما تا اینجا اومدیم با هم مگر برگشته باشه اینجا.
What the hell? They're using an old school map. I mean, nothing wrong with that, I guess, but we gotta look that up. Is that true? Maybe there's hope. No, the Bears true is not a story. It's a meme. It's a joke. Okay. May 19, 2024, Rice's Bell 212 helicopter crashed in foggy mountainous terrain in East Azerbaijan province. All 8 people died on board. Okay. Iranian rescuers with some Turkish drone assistance located the wreckage after a lengthy search in bad weather. Not true.
As acting, and also much appreciative for what Pam Bondi did for the past year.
I mean, you get the anger. I mean, what Biden and Obama did not handled well.
And I don't, first of all, I have never heard President Trump say that the Attorney General that anything that happened to her had anything to do with the Epstein files. And so, look, the Epstein files has been a saga that's lasted for the past year. And
I think she was the fall person. Just somebody to take the hit, take the fall. because that whole Epstein shit was a mess. Somebody had to take the fall. So, she was just like stuck in a hard place. Somebody here posted and said it seems that CNN was upset or unhappy that the pilot was rescued.
We are learning that there has been an update to the search and rescue. Right now, we are told that one of the crew members has been rescued, is in U.S. custody, and getting medical attention. This comes from 3 sources who are familiar with the matter. We don't know the state of this person. We don't know how injured or hurt that they were, but we do know that they have been rescued and are currently in U.S. custody and getting medical treatment. We are learning that there has been an update to the search and rescue. Right now, we are told that one of the crew members has been rescued.
All right. Trump cabinet shakeup.
Talk a lot more about these updates. I do want to now bring into the conversation political analyst Brian Sobel. Brian, thanks so much for being with us here on Live Now from Fox.
Good to see you, Christina.
All right, let's start with the very basics. This was obviously huge news in Washington, D.C. yesterday when it was announced that Pam Bondi is officially going to be out from that.
Pam Bondi's gone. I don't know if you guys have heard about this story. Completely unrelated, but I covered this guy on my second page, Clavicle. He's like this young guy that, he like intentionally had ran over a guy. Said his life was under threat. Some guy jumped on his car. It was on stream. He ran over some dude, said he'd do it again. He's the Max Looks guy. If you're probably older like me a little bit, you might not know who he is, but he's like the younger generation. Supposedly took a chisel to his face or something to restructure his face. His motto is basically, make yourself look better at whatever means, whether it's taking injections, steroids, peptides, surgery, anything you got to do to the max, looks max. Well, apparently, I guess for the stream, they put him in a chokehold. I guess he thought it was going to be like funny or something, but he almost died. He went like into, I guess he went into a seizure.
Let him choke. Turn him over.
Good guy. I was almost wondering if that was real, if he was pretending.
He's good. Okay. I'm here. Turn to the side. Turn to the side. I'm here.
Some people have died like this. I forgot. I thought there was another person that was like on a stream doing something similar. He and his, I forgot what it was like. I think it was in another country. Him and his friends were like kind of playing around. And they would troll him a lot on the stream. And then they ran up to him, they kind of jumped him, and they put him in a chokehold, and they thought, okay, whatever. And the guy ended up dying.
I'm here, bro. I'm here. He's good. I'm here. He's good. It's Tarzan. You're good. I'm here. Take your second. Take your time. He's good.
Never do that.
Wow.
I don't know if that was fake or not, but people have died like that. People have died. I mean, I've talked about it so many times too, just off of a punch. There was a story recently. I don't know who it was. Somebody punched somebody else and they died. But I covered a long time ago Pablo Lyle, the soccer player that came to Miami. And some dude was like following him and they tried to like take him out of his car. Well, the dude turned around and started leaving after he tried to like get him out of his car. And as he was walking away back to his car, Pablo Lyle gets out and punches him. Guy falls to the floor and dies. I guess he hit his head and he died. I thought they were going to let Pablo go because I feel like it was self-defense, but I guess because the guy had turned around and was already leaving the situation and Pablo went and confronted him. I guess they didn't believe it was self-defense. And so he was found guilty. He's still locked up. Was he a soccer player or an actor or something? I don't know. Soccer player, actor. And apparently his wife left him. His wife left his ass while he was locked up. Crazy shit. His whole life changed because he punched somebody in the face. One punch. Crazy.
Bondi piece of it, that exit by Pam Bondi is a smooth one, or as smooth as it can be, given that Donald Trump had decided to move on. He had very high compliments for her, and frankly, in her 14 months in office, Christina, she did a whole lot. When you think about the fact that you've got the midterms coming up, I think that the president decided that the less distraction, the better, and the Attorney General's office, with all that was going on around the country, with the Epstein situation, that he wanted to find somebody who could calm things down, be a different person in the office, and he's decided that a trusted person that he's known for many, many years, Todd Blanche, is that person.
And so, as you can see there on your screen, we have that graphic there with Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche in the center, taking over for Pam Bondi. But also, there have been floated some other names. So we're not going to touch on this piece of the conversation quite yet, Brian, but I want to bring this up as we're talking about where Pam Bondi is going next. We did see the ouster of Kristi Noem. She's moved.
Yeah, Kristi Noem, she was crazy, the husband. Yo, have you guys heard about this? This is too like a story that like just hasn't really been talked about. Did you guys know that there was this military Air Force guy that's missing? And he had a lot to do, I thought, with the UFO projects and stuff, like UFO. He said had general ties to the UFO community. Like he had, they said he was like on top secret projects and so this dude just disappears. I can't stand all these you can't even like. Take care of this. It's way too much, man. I could have done 1 or 2, 3 or all over the place. Jesus. Missing Air Force general with ties to the UFO community. Plan not to be found, is what apparently the wife says. The wife of retired Air Force General William Neal McCaslin, who disappeared without a trace from his New Mexico home in February, told 911 dispatchers she feared her husband planned not to be found. Susan Wilkerson called 911 3 hours after her husband, who has strong ties to the UFO community, vanished from Albuquerque on February 22nd with hiking boots and a revolver. I don't know if he ended his life. Did the aliens take him? Did he know too much information? Was he going to leak information? Did the UFO community take him? My husband is missing. It's been about 3 hours. How have they not found this guy? Wilkerson told dispatchers that her alien expert husband suspiciously turned his phone off and left it at home alongside with his prescription glasses before he vanished. Wow, well, that's a big telltale there. No glasses. He turned it off. Well, the phone is too, and left it behind, which seems kind of deliberate because he always got his phone. He has a smartwatch. I don't know if that's with him or not. The worried wife told dispatchers that her husband has changed his clothes and left on foot in the middle of the day while she was out at her appointment. Local authorities and FBI have been searching for the 68-year-old since late February. Nancy Guthrie? February? Nancy? What? But I've come up short. Prior to his retirement, McCaslin worked at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base in Ohio, overseeing classified space weapons program. The base is also rumored to possess fragments of extraterrestrial debris, allegedly from a UFO hotspot in Roswell, New Mexico. What? Yeah, overseeing classified special weapons program. This guy was at the top of the top. Top of the top, classified weaponry, weapons, space program, and just disappeared. Isn't that a top priority? What if he's leaking information? What if the enemy took him? What if China took him? What if Iran took him? I've barely heard any blips in the story. I did see News Nation do a little coverage on it. Not even a press conference, because I was like going to cover it. I was going to try to cover it, and I was like, yo, there's barely anything on this. And I previously was trying to look for a press conference, no press conference, nothing. I didn't know Law and Crime did a video on it. Maybe we could cover it. I don't know. It depends. It's such a strange story, though.
My husband is missing. It's been about 3 hours, and I have some indication that he must have planned not to be found. He turned it off and left it behind, which seems kind of deliberate.
That is the wife of retired Air Force Major General William Neal McCaslin, heard in a 911 call that had never been released until now.
I think he's on foot. All of our cars and bicycles are in the garage.
This is a big new development in the story that we have been covering of a missing man with work tied to Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, a place long rumored to be connected to Roswell and UFOs. And now he apparently walks out of his house in the middle of the day, allegedly changes his clothes, and vanishes. So what happened?
You'll be missing soon if we don't change the topic.
In that narrow window between when his wife left and when she came home.
Okay, I'm not gonna play that whole thing. I was just it just kind of popped in my head so while we're waiting for some kind of update that this mysterious story. I didn't know the wife spoke out or that the audio came out, dispatch audio or 911 dispatch. Strange, man. How does that guy just go missing? I wonder if he had any mental health stuff. Did he turn on the U.S.? Was he in contact with somebody? Did they offer him to, come work with us, leave all your shit behind, just walk off into the, I don't know, wherever he lives, into the terrain. We'll pick you up and take you. Did he kill himself? Because they mentioned something about a revolver. But usually when people kill themselves, I thought there was a statistic. Well, I thought when they kill themselves, it's usually not like so hidden it's impossible to find them type of shit. I thought. Since the news broke of the suspicious disappearance broke, many people have been speculating whether McCaslin's deep knowledge of the UFO information has anything to do with the mysterious disappearance. This man with some of the most sensitive secrets of the United States in his head. It just doesn't make any sense. Silver alert. Disappear from the face of the earth. How do you do that? I guess Nancy did it. Maybe wherever Nancy is you'll find this guy. Somehow Nancy's disappeared from the face of the earth. The top professionals, top experts, FBI, local law enforcement screwed up the search, but with Nancy, it makes no sense.
McCaslin went missing last month. Members of Congress are warning this could be a national security issue. The general was involved with the Pentagon's most advanced aerospace research. He oversaw a classified space weapons program. McCaslin was in charge of the Air Force Research Lab at a base in Ohio. It's rumored that base holds extraterrestrial debris from the Roswell crash site. The general was tied in with the UFO community. A source told the New York Post the general was a gatekeeper for anything UFO related in the Air Force. He retired due to mental fog, but investigators say he's still highly intelligent and capable. McCaslin was an avid hiker. His wife last saw him leaving with a backpack and a .38 revolver. No phone, no glasses. He disappeared 6 days right after Trump announced he was releasing the UFO files. And he's not the only one. 8 months before the general vanished, a rocket scientist who worked under him years ago also went missing. She was hiking in California with 2 other people. They saw her smiling and waving 30 feet behind them. When they turned back again, she was gone, vanished in plain sight. They searched for days and couldn't find any trace of her. This is a very, very strange situation.
They need to look into those 2 friends. How the hell? What?
And 11 days before the general disappeared, another scientist was shot dead on his porch. Carl Grillmar was known for discovering signs of water on a distant planet, and he was gunned down in California. Freddie Snyder was later charged with his murder. He has a rap sheet, but was let out of jail by a Newsom-appointed judge weeks before he allegedly killed the scientist.
That is crazy.
We still don't know his motive.
And we don't know if these cases are even connected. But this many top scientists getting killed or going missing in just under a year looks like a major red flag. Chris Swecker is a former assistant FBI.
Sometimes people just die and go missing or whatever, and they just happen to be. But I think this guy is pretty strange. This guy is very strange. You know, I don't know. We're just missing so much information. We don't know his mental status. Besides, he retired because of mental fog, but they said he was still very well together with it. Didn't tell his wife, which I guess if you want to disappear, you don't tell your wife. Didn't tell his wife shit. She had no idea. And somehow disappears from the face of the earth. Okay. The odd little story. Let me see any updates. I was just trying to kind of hang around to see if we get anything on the second pilot. Nothing on the second pilot yet. Let's see what they're saying here. They're saying Kash Patel might be next to be fired.
He blew through a lot of people, Christina, 4 chiefs of staff, lots of other people. You're going to see more changes because that's what Donald Trump, that's how he manages. He likes to move people around. He likes to challenge people. He's a results-oriented person, and he's more than anything impatient. And so if you're not meeting his needs very well and there's delay, he doesn't wait long to make a change. So I think to your question, I think there will be additional changes as he completes his administration for sure.
Absolutely. We have this tweet from Politico as they've been trying to dive into this story, saying that President Trump is weighing more cabinet changes after this bounty ouster. Again, we just saw the ouster of Kristi Noem a short time ago. Other names have been floated out there, as Brian said. And so we'll continue to keep you updated here on Live Now from Fox if any of those changes are confirmed as well. Brian, thanks so much for being with us here today and breaking down the very latest that we have.
Always my pleasure.
All right, wanted to bring that to you here on Live Now. We are going to take this opportunity to slide away for our first take of the hour.
Okay. Let me check OST. Oh, that's why. Let me see. The U.S. military, AZ Intel posts that the U.S. military said it's received notification of an aircraft being shot down in the Middle East, according to the Pentagon email obtained by AP. Most likely the fighter jet over Iran. So there's some confirmation of the U.S. kind of like, I guess accepting it. I don't think they're going to say anything really, or they're going to try not to to see if they can find the second person, the second pilot. Because I feel like if they find the second pilot, then they can kind of turn this into like somewhat like a feel-good story. Like, yes, they were shot down or something happened or there was some type of technical whatever, but they're rescued and alive, and that's all that matters. I think that's what they're holding.
Still saying this, one pilot has been rescued. Intense search now underway for the second crew member after an F-15 downed over Iran. That was according to a well-placed source talking to Fox News. Let's slide away for that 2-minute commercial break. Stay right here with us.
Let me search and see. That's not good though, man. U.S. Air Force HH-60G Pavehawk. That's what I didn't mention earlier. One of the Pavehawks. Combat search and rescue helicopters seen flying over South Iran. Let me show you guys that. Let's take a look at that. Babala. Let me see what you guys are saying. It's Friday. What topics? It says, is Mel not allowed to, what topics are you talking about? Is Mel not allowed to talk about certain topics? We talk about everything pretty much. What topic are you talking about? Oh, need to ask about Bob Lazar. Man, Bob Lazar is like a legend. I just remember watching all the documentaries. I don't know. What do you think? Is he legit? Bob Lazar legit? Or was he your phony the whole time? Sounded legit, I guess. Bob Lazar. I used to get scared listening to UFO shit and watching all those videos. The Greys. Damn. Classic. Classic Bob Lazar. What's he doing now these days? He's still alive? Does he do shows and stuff? Does he talk? U.S. tourists in Hong Kong apparently must reveal their device passwords or be arrested. Damn.
Notifications that we get there. I do want to put this up on your screen as well, a live look that we have of the White House. We do know that according to sources, President Trump has been informed there, able to hear a little bit more about what's happening, briefed on this matter. That's according to Caroline Levitt as well. So we'll keep you updated here on Live Now from Fox. In the meantime, I want to show this to you as well. We have this feed coming in as we're watching the very latest as it pertains to the Artemis mission. We do know that at 3:30 p.m. Eastern time, we are expected to get an update.
By the way, that picture is the picture they sent from space. Let me see if I show you a full screen. Oh yeah, we got to see too if they speak. That's what I was wondering. You guys say anything?
Is any of those folks who are talking to any of the media on the left side of your screen? They often have some of their cameras set up. That's where they do their one-on-one interviews. After, oftentimes, folks will come up to the microphone to make any remarks to the general press here that's staged in this area before possibly entering the White House, which is right off to the left off of the screen. We have seen Kevin Hassett walk by a bit earlier today. He's a member of President Trump's.
Okay. This picture, I guess they took, stunning new image has been released as it was captured by the Artemis 2 crew from deep space, Earth. Interesting. CNN says the U.S. fighter jet shot down in Iran may get help from Iranian civilians because they're happy they're there.
Sort of this same thing in Iraq and Afghanistan as well. If you're going to be picked up by somebody who is going to turn you over to the Iranian, forces that are going to use you and capture you, or is the population happy that you're there and want to help you? That we don't know. And so anybody that that gets shot down over that space is having to deal with that uncertainty.
So no word yet. Still nothing on the second pilot. Nothing. According to Newsmax, and I saw reports of this too, they're trying to say that this helicopter was shot down, the Pavehawk. I just saw smoke, and I saw some reports that like it was being shot at. So this Pavehawk combat search and rescue helicopters involved in the search for the F-15 that was shot down earlier may have sustained damage during the operation, with the helicopter in question seen tailed by a trail of smoke. I did see this. I just wasn't sure if it was real or not because there's just so much fake stuff being posted. And I saw a video of people like shooting at helicopters, and I wasn't sure if that was today or not because on X, it's just like they post. A lot of people post, they'll post old images, old videos, and say it's now. It's a lot of people just trying to get clicks or whatever. But it seems like this. Maybe it's true. It didn't go down from what I'm hearing, but I guess it was shot at. It had some type of damage or something. So who is this guy? Oh, this guy from News Max. All right, he's saying everybody calm down. So they shot one of our planes down. Relax. This happens every war. The situation is under control. One guy has already been rescued. Fake news is treating this like it's 9/11 and Hurricane Katrina all wrapped up in one. Chill. That's from Newsmax, Greg Kelly. Calm down. Panikins. Remember when Donald Trump claimed that Iran's air defense had been completely obliterated? U.S. fighter jet crashes in Iran. Yeah, I thought that's what I heard him say, that they have no anti-aircraft equipment. So I mean, that's my criticism with that. That's where I'm kind of like, But so yeah, Greg Kelly, calm down. It's actually pretty rare for a U.S. fighter. I mean, I don't know when the last time was. I gotta ask Rock. What was the last time our fighter jet was shot down by enemies? Not a crash, not a friendly fire incident, but by enemies. He said, "Chill." Let me look that up. Oh. Okay, so it says here the last time before today. So on March 19th, this wasn't like a shoot down, but there was a US F-35A that was hit by suspected Iranian ground fire during a combat mission. It sustained damage and made an emergency landing. So it wasn't shot down, but it was hit. March 2nd, there was the friendly fire incident we talked about over Kuwait, where there was like these three. I don't know how this is wild. This story still is kind of sus to me, but anyway, F-15E Strike Eagles were shot down, 3 of them over Kuwait. It was a friendly fire incident, possibly involving Kuwait FA-18. A six crew ejected safely, no enemy action. Kuwait's lucky they're alive. They're lucky one of these jets didn't turn around and blast them out of the fucking sky. Okay, and then before that was March 2nd. Prior to the 2026 Iran conflict, no U.S. fighter jet had been shot down by enemy fire in combat for over 20 years. That's kind of a big deal, you know what I'm saying? It's kind of like, it's interesting at the very least, and you hope that even if some people may see it as just, oh, it's just one person. Oh, it's just war. It's whatever. Oh, it's just a person. Fuck it. It's just war. It's that. Whatever. They've been saying, I don't think Iran is a superpower. I'm not saying that because I think some people overhype Iran, but at the same time, they're saying that they have nothing over there. They're saying that they've been decimated and wiped out, and then you hear something like this. Let's see here. Yeah, I mean, it's. I just hope they find the other guy, and I don't know, man. I hope this doesn't turn into like something worse than what it is. Like if this guy was captured, just imagine if he was captured. Like oh my God, it's like, imagine they capture this person and then they put him on TV, force him to say shit. Like, oh. All right. Artemis. Yeah, we're worried about the crew, not the jet, right? Let me see what else. If not, then I don't know. Let me see. Cat Turd. I'm not sure where he's hearing that from. He said, "I'm hearing both pilots have been rescued now. Can anyone confirm?" That was about 15 minutes ago. A little over 15 minutes ago. I still haven't seen any confirmation yet, but somebody. Oh, wait, hold on. Somebody posted a screenshot. Who's this from? Officials say crew member aboard down U.S. jet has been found. Search continuing for the second. Search continuing for the second. Somebody put a side by side. This is Russia media, but somebody Earth in 1972 captured by Apollo 17 on the left, and then Earth in 2026 on the right. And they had the same camera qualities. The old picture looks better quality. The old CGI looks better than the new CGI. 1972 Apollo 17. Well, yeah. Well, the new one looks like it has some sharpness to it. What is this? I don't know, man. It's kind of funny to see, but I wonder what's going on here. Anything interesting? This plane. What is this? The Stratotanker. Circling around a little bit here, but this is where's that at? Oh, it's Jordan. What do we got here? Another Stratotanker. Maybe refueling. Oh, two of them back to back. The two Stratotankers back to back, baby. Where they come from? It starts out of here. Just okay. Kuwait's right there. Oh, in Iraq. Okay. In Iran, you don't see nothing for Iran. Damn. Oh, 2 minutes ago, Savannah Guthrie returns to the Today Show. Wow. Back on TV? I guess back on TV. Okay. Okay, so as far as the helicopter we were just talking about with the smoke trailing behind it, Newsmax reporter Carla Babb says, "I'm told that the Black Hawk that was had trailing smoke as it crossed into southern Iraq from Iran today. We reached out for additional information." So she's saying it's legit. Two U.S. officials have now confirmed to Newsmax that the two pilots. Oh, wait. Oh, two U.S. officials have now confirmed to Newsmax that, okay, one of the pilots has been rescued and is undergoing medical treatment. The status of the second pilot is unknown. Search and rescue ops continue. We see the video of the HC-130 aircraft and helos in the skies. One source tells me a Black Hawk may have also been hit over Iran while conducting rescue ops to find the F-15 pilot. I'm told Hawk was tailed by a trail of smoke. So that one's probably legit. Seems legit, that one, yeah. But imagine another plane or helicopter was shot down. That would have been crazy. What are they marching for? March between George Floyd and Renee Good and Alex Preddy memorials. Oh, they're marching today?
With that being said, learn the story, learn the neighborhood, learn a culture, be a part of a culture.
Yo, Nanos keeps this guy Nanos keeps getting reamed. Just an independent firm working for the Pima County has released its findings into workplace harassment complaints against Sheriff Nanos brought by former PCSD Lieutenant Heather Lappin, whom he narrowly defeated in 2024 election. That's the sheriff that was working on Nancy Guthrie. It just keeps coming. The gift that keeps on giving. Okay. Yeah, I'm not seeing any updates, sadly. I guess maybe we'll have to update it later. I wonder if I could find that video of the helicopter again.
Quoting here, over the next month, Office of Fighting for an easily.
What else? That's it for now? I guess that's it for now. Yeah, maybe we'll jump off for a little bit and update whatever else comes later today. I'll keep you guys posted if this pilot is found. Oh, man. Yeah, I'll let you know, guys, know if this pilot is found. I'll keep you posted. We'll see what else happens today. I guess depending on how I'm feeling later, I don't know if the JLR drama, with Nerdy, I don't know. It's just like messy and stuff. I thought about talking about it yesterday, but now I was like, I'll just I'll let things develop and see what happens with that. But it's got messy. A lot of personal stuff has come out. Tit for tat. JLR was kind of crashing out a bit too, crashing out. I don't know. We'll see, I guess. But anyway, yeah, you guys stay safe. I'll catch you guys later. Happy Friday. Take care of yourselves. Oh. Scientists discover the male G-spot is not where anyone thought it was. What? What the hell? There's a new spot, guys. I'll move on from that. All right, bye. Bloop, 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 bloop.